Greetings, and welcome to Eitz Chaim's weekly podcast, recorded live in Richardson, Texas. We invite you now to join us for one of our synagogue's Shabbat messages.
Shalom, good morning. I would never be able to present myself such a way. There is a good chance that we're coming to Dallas for 9 months. For me, it's going to be like a sabbatical after intense years of the ministry. I'm just trying to finish my doctoral dissertation that I'm writing on a German university, but leading a ministry in Germany and in Europe, and also bivocationally being a rabbi of a Messianic congregation in Berlin. I don't have time to do that. So I need to get out of this environment. And it was very interesting and tempting invitation to come and to be to a certain extent even on faculty of Dallas Theological Seminary for 2 semesters in order to sit in the library. So my job is going to be primarily to sit in the library and work with the books, and it's nice. It's not everyday opportunity, I would say. So it's very tempting. So I think that if God will not put any significant obstacle, we're going to see you starting late August, probably for 9 months, for 2 semesters. And, I'm looking forward to that. We love your congregation. Our congregation became our home for a couple of years of our studies at Dallas Theological Seminary. We went back to Germany, where we started our ministry in 1995. We went back 2006 after 4 years here in Dallas. And your congregation supports us as ministers in Europe, and we do highly appreciate that. But we appreciate, what we also appreciate, it's the feeling and understanding that Eitz Chaim is like our home, like our spiritual home and our community, Messianic community here in Dallas. So we do highly appreciate you. I'm very glad to see some familiar faces and some of our good friends here in Dallas sitting in this room. I'm also encouraged to see many new faces here during this for this service. I'm just briefly going to introduce myself. I was born and raised in Kiev, capital of Ukraine, in a liberal Jewish home. By the way, now everybody thinks that it's Ukraine. Here in the United States, usually, as I was telling, I'm from Kiev, I'm from Ukraine, everybody was telling, oh, you are Russian. Now Putin thinks the same way. But everybody in the United States thinks that Ukraine is a separate country. Well, I was growing up in one big country called the Soviet Union, and experiencing a lot of anti-Semitism and struggling with my Jewishness. As the Soviet Union collapsed, what many in Russia consider today as a big tragedy, I actually, as a Jewish person, enjoyed the fact that we became very free as Jews and we could leave the country. So I left, in 1991, I left Ukraine for Israel, in search for happiness in my life. Instead, going there as a Jewish atheist, so no belief in God at all, I encountered God at the Wailing Wall in Old City of Jerusalem. It was a very, very significant experience. If you remember, I touched the wall and it was like electricity struck going through my body. Suddenly I believed in God. And then a few months later, I asked him about the directions for my life. Again, a note put in the wailing wall, just forgot to read and respond. It was the only way I knew at that time. So I promised him that I will never complain, silly promises. The very next day he sent me back to Ukraine. I was complaining like crazy. As I came back to Ukraine, I met my old Jewish friend who meanwhile became a believer in Jesus, not even in Yeshua at that time. There is no much difference besides terminology and meaning, but however, he started witnessing to me and sharing Jesus with me, and I was surprised, I was upset, because I knew that Jewish people don't believe in Jesus. I could explain that to everybody, telling that Jewish people don't believe in Jesus. Why? Because Jewish people don't believe in Jesus. So it was pretty easy and straightforward. But at the same time, I was very jealous, seeing my crazy friend being so happy, being with peace in his heart. He could, if he had any problems or concern, he could go to his Jesus. And I was even asking him to pray to his Jesus for some of my problems. But I didn't like this feeling because, it's just why is he doing so well and I'm so miserable? It's not nice. Huh? I need to convince him that he is wrong for him to become the same miserable as I am, for us to be the friends. Friends are those who are either together happy or miserable. True? No. However, that was my attitude. And I took the Old Testament and started searching for the passages in the Bible to show him that Jesus could not be the Messiah. It was like competition, considering different evidences, pro and contrast. 1 year later, I got convinced that Yeshua is the one. And that would be it. If everything would be so easy, Here, I knew that my friend is right. But as I prayed in Jesus, in Yeshua's name for the first time, 30 seconds later, I was praying again, telling, Father, if Jesus is not the Messiah, please forgive me. I made a mistake. Because I was afraid of the consequences. What will my parents say to that? What about my friends? What about the fact that in the whole universe there are only 2 Jewish men who consider Jesus to be the Messiah? My crazy friend and myself. Not nice feeling. Huh? And then, 3 months later, God put me in a situation I suffered. And suddenly I suffered of the recognition of my sin. Suddenly I knew that I'm a sinner. It was like a heavy stone on my shoulders. Everybody is a sinner, right? The Bible tells so. That's what I knew. Everybody is a sinner, except I was not. No, seriously, I never killed anybody. I never stolen anything for others to see that I'm stealing. I never committed any crime in my life. So official public crime. I never, look, it's just, my testimony is actually very boring. I never was a drug addict, so never used any drugs, never tried even in my life. Can you imagine? And stuff like this. I was a nice Jewish boy, so no shame for my parents. They were very proud of me. Until I believed in Jesus, of course. But everything went so well. Also, with my education, I got Master of Science in Mathematics. With my career, everything was so smooth and so nice. And I consider myself ethically also very high standard person. And suddenly, one day, I recognized that there is much uncleanness, spiritual, ethical uncleanness in my heart. And I understood that things that I was so intentional hiding from myself and from others. Exactly these things, the hatred, jealousy, desire to be, the arrogance, desire to be so way better than others. All possible such attitudes, they were keeping me away from God and making me so unhappy. And, this stone of the sin was so heavy, I couldn't bear it anymore. So I had to get rid of it. And it was not important for me what will other people tell about it. I knew that Yeshua is the way. And I went to him, I stood on my knees, I prayed, I tried to bring him every sin I have ever done. And as I stood up after this prayer, the stone has gone, I knew that my sin is forgiven. For the first time in my life, I was absolutely free. I was absolutely happy. I thought that I'm a bird. I could fly, for 2 weeks. Then he brought me back to earth. I'm walking since then. But it was so exciting. And the calling of God in my life was so evident. Look, some people, they need to push themselves to do some ministry. Nobody had to push myself, push me. Nobody could stop me. Listen, on the very next day, I immediately knew that I got to preach the gospel outside on the streets and to different people. And I went. I never read the New Testament in my life at that point. I never attended any Christian or Messianic service properly at that time. But I knew that Jesus, Yeshua, can change the life for good and for better, and he forgives sin. And that was my theology at first. So I was preaching that. And people were getting to Yeshua and getting saved, and it was so exciting. I taught my first class, biblical class, 1 month after I became a believer. I preached my first sermon at the congregation 4 months I became a believer. By the grace of God, I planted my first Messianic congregation. I was less than 1 year old as a believer. So if somebody sits and feels, I'm still so young in the face to do something, come on, give me the break. It's just go and do what God calls you to do. Disregarding on how many years or decades you are with the Lord. Just go and do what He's calling you to do. There was a certain surprise to me as God was calling me to do ministry in Germany. It was 1995. I didn't want to go, not primarily because of the Holocaust, but just because I was willing to go to Israel. But he was pushing me to Germany. I tried to argue with him, I tried to convince him that I need to go to Israel. Nothing helped. I realized that it's better to go to Germany by car than in a fish. You know, the Jonah story. So my wife and I, we went to Germany just 2 months after we got married. It was our honeymoon that lasts since 1995. Can you imagine? So the most extended honeymoon. I know. However, we came to Germany and we saw the reason almost immediately. Jewish people from the former Soviet Union were immigrating to Germany in big numbers, like 300,000 over a few years. And it was a fantastic, probably once in a lifetime opportunity for me. Or maybe it happens in other countries in the future. Who knows? But in my life. But we came to the country where nobody knew what to do with these Jewish people. I mean, spiritually. How to share the gospel with them. So we started absolutely pioneering ministry from the scratch. For the first service at our congregation in Berlin, only both of us were present. No Messianic congregations in Germany, no Jewish outreach in the country. But God was blessing us. We went through different struggles, feeling lonely and exhausted, but still God was blessing us with to see hundreds of Jewish people being saved as a result of this ministry. And today, praise the Lord, today there are more than 40 Messianic congregations in different parts of Germany. And there are a number of thousands of Jewish believers in Germany these days. So the Jewish community in Germany became not just the fastest growing Jewish community in the Jewish history ever, percentage-wise, but also the fastest growing Messianic community. And it's just unbelievable to consider that it's Germany where the Holocaust happened. So it's like the life from the dead. The country where the final solution was planned by Nazis became the country for the different sort of solution for the Jewish people. Namely, for the Jewish people to receive the eternal life, the quality new life that will never end, with Yeshua HaMashiach, the Messiah of Israel. And we're just blessed to be in Germany, to consider Germany to be the base of our ministry, and Berlin as a hub of our ministry, not just in Germany, but also in other countries. Just some very recent updates about ministry before I will come to some biblical passages that I want to read with you this early afternoon. In Germany, we face now two new Jewish groups becoming very significant these days. First group is Israelis. There are many Israelis coming to live in Germany. Only in Berlin in recent years, 20,000 Israelis found the place for living. So they moved from Israel to Germany. At least 20,000 Israelis, according to the official numbers of Israeli embassy in Berlin. And there are many Israeli tourists coming because they want to see Berlin. It's a booming city. It's a free city. It's a safe city still for the Jewish people. The number of direct flights from Israel to Berlin is growing almost every month. And they are all packed with Israelis coming. You can hear Hebrew everywhere in Berlin these days. And we are starting a new outreach to them, trying to share the gospel, trying to bring Yeshua close to them and explain them Yeshua. Also, we are starting like a network of Christian homes to host these Israeli tourists. And we train these Christians to share the good news of the Messiah with them. So it's also sort of outreach, and I would appreciate your prayers for that. There is another group, and it's absolutely surprising group to me. Just in the last 2 years, we're experiencing many Germans to realize or to discover that they are of Jewish descent. And not just like, 5 generations ago or 6 generations ago. Like my father or my or my mother was Jewish. Something like this. Many German Jews, they were hiding from Nazis. They were trying to change all the paperwork and forget, not just take away everything in their history, but also to forget their history. They were not telling about their Jewish descendants, neither to their children nor to their grandchildren. especially in Eastern Germany, they were afraid to tell about their Jewishness because Eastern Germany was very anti-Semitic and anti-Israel. So today, suddenly, this absolutely like normal, secular, pseudo-Christian Germans, they discover that some of them are galactically Jewish. And they don't know what to do with that. Look, in Germany after the Holocaust, everybody is so sensitive to the Jewish people. So they were sensitive to the Jewish people all their life. They were afraid to communicate even to fellowship with the Jewish people because of that. And suddenly, wow, I'm Jewish. And they are not like, some people who are very like crazy about being Jewish. I was willing to be a Jew all my life. And now I know that I'm one. No, it's not such kind of people. The people are getting actually like depressed by this fact. So, wow, what can I do right now? What does it mean for me? And they are open to come to us and to talk about these things because they cannot go to the synagogue only if you are really galactically Jewish. But what about if your father? One woman came to me and said, my father, I just discovered that my father was an Auschwitz survivor. In my family, nobody ever talked about it. It just became evident. And my older brother was surprised that I don't know that. So what can I do with this? And it's a very important group of outreach for us. Because Yeshua, he can help them with their self-identity. Yeshua can give a meaning to them being Jewish. As he gave actually meaning of my Jewishness to me, as I came to Yeshua, I became way more Jewish than I used to be before because I learned to appreciate the calling of God that He has given to His chosen Jewish people. And so please keep this outreach in prayer. And now one quick, another more personal outreach for me. I'm performing Jewish weddings. Oh, what's the deal? Oh, it's a big deal, because there are like couples who want to get married, but one part is not galactically Jewish. What can we do? The synagogue will not do that. But the relatives, they want to see a chuppah. There is a Messianic rabbi who is doing that. They know there is a word of mouth. There is a Messianic rabbi performing chuppah and very traditional, very just normal and good way. And he's nice young man. So just go to him. So there is such couples. They're almost like staying in line to get an appointment to have this chuppah. And now look. I do that under two conditions. First, you make a donation to the congregation. If I will not get any money from them, they will consider that a joke, So this rabbi is not real if he is not taking money for that. So, but I'm not taking that for myself, but telling, make a donation to the congregation as it's appropriate, like a honorarium for such services. But there is another condition, namely 4 sessions of premarital counseling. And they are very intentional to come actually for this premarital counseling. And it's not just that they are pushed to do that. They are coming, they are running, they are not missing any appointment of this because they want to get chuppah. So they come and I start from the book of Genesis and I'm showing them the relevance of Yeshua for their life from the very beginning. They know that I'm Messianic. they are ready to take a risk to have a Messianic rabbi, because there is no other rabbi who would perform the chuppah, and they do need it. And the average second or third outreach the session of this premarital counseling, we are praying with them, and they are receiving Yeshua, because it's so evident in the Bible, both in the Hebrew Bible and in the New Testament, that they need he is relevant for their marriage, and important for their marriage also. And then there is a chuppah time, and usually it's in a restaurant, and I have like from 50 to 200, 300 Jewish people sitting in front of me. I would never get these people to listen to what I'm to say. No, I cannot preach directly like a good evangelistic sermon. I cannot deliver that, because nobody will recommend me to others, and I will miss my opportunity. But they know what kind of rabbi I am, and I squeeze it in the ceremony explanation. So I'm explaining. I'm not, as usual, rabbi. I'm explaining everything, like I'm taking like 15 minutes or 10 minutes to explain what's going on here. And I'm just bringing Yeshua into this explanation. Not in direct, but in the way for them to get that there is something special in what is going on there. And then I say, I'm available to talk with you if you would like after this ceremony. Oh, we have so good conversations afterwards. So it's just, I'm so excited about this outreach type. Well, there is something what I want to share with you in my drush. And it's going to be very unusual for those of you who know the way I'm teaching, and I'm not going to give a very deep exegesis today. I'm not going to give a lot of theological insight. I'm going to be more personal now, and probably more provocative. I want to start by mentioning Purim, the feast that we just celebrated a couple of weeks ago. I know that you had great Purim here, and also encouraging drush related to that. But I want you to take a look at the Purim story again, because it's something what is. I want to introduce you something what is very important to my heart. To my, even like, I would say, pastoral heart these days. So, please turn with me to the book of Esther. And we go to chapter 3. And it's the story how the hatred of Haman began. In chapter 3, from verse 3 to 5 or to 6, we read that after these events, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, the son of Hamadata, the Agagite, and advanced him and established his authority over all the princes who were with him. All the king's servants who were at the king's gate bowed down and paid homage to Haman, for the king had commanded concerning him. But Mordecai neither bowed down nor paid homage. Then the king's servants who were at the king's gate said to Mordecai, "Why are you transgressing the king's command?" Now it was when they had spoken daily to him, and he would not listen to them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai Mordecai's reason would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. When Haman saw that Mordecai neither bowed down nor paid homage to him, Haman was filled with rage. But he disdained to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had told him who the people of Mordecai were. Therefore, Haman sought to destroy all the Jews, the people of Mordecai, who were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus. Now, most of you know the story. We read it every year, at least once a year. And in this story, we see that Haman was elevated above everybody else in the kingdom. He was like the second to the king, because everybody had to bow to the king and to this man. He got everything, the top. The next step would be probably to become a king. But it was barely possible for him in the given circumstances. But he became like the second in the kingdom, the highest he could reach. What could he wish for himself more? Everybody bowed down. In the entire kingdom, there was just one Jewish man. I assume other Jewish men were bowing down because it's mentioned only Mordecai here. So just one Jewish man was not bowing down. Jewish, not Jewish, it didn't play for Haman big difference. Just one man. He even could not notice him. Just look carefully. Haman didn't see that Mordecai was not bowing down. He was reported that somebody is not bowing down. For whatever reason it happened, as Haman was going in his on the streets or in the kingdom, he could not see this Jewish man not bowing down. So he used to live pretty easy and enjoyable life of worship, of being worshipped. Now, we usually make a noise as we read the name Haman, and we try to make this name just completely elevated and cursed, not elevated, eliminated and cursed. So we want this name not to be heard at all. And at the same time, I want us to take a look at this man from a completely different perspective. Not perspective of his hatred, but from the perspective of his struggle. Poor guy. He had everything, but his pride, his self-confidence was not strong in his pride didn't let his self-confidence to be strong enough. Or the opposite. He had problems, psychological probably problems in his heart. He could not stand just one man of millions who was not bowing down to him. His self-esteem was absolutely dependent not just on millions, but on one particular man he never knew even and never noticed until it was reported that this man is not bowing down. Poor guy. He lost his sleep, he lost his peace, he lost his joy just because one man out of million. Unbelievable. Weak man. Not even weak because he is bad, but because just he is weak and pitiful. Probably he was very good as a servant of the king because king elevated him so high. Probably he was very good at his job, Probably he was very smart and very wise. He was very politically correct, and he knew what to tell king in the appropriate time. He had everything. But he went to his doom just because one man who happened to be a Jew. Not just happened to be a Jew. He could be a Persian or Greek or whoever. He happened to be a Jew. Now, God knew what he is doing, but it happened so. And now just make a bridge to our lives. Just try for a second. What brings us out of our peace and out of our shalom and Shabbat in our heart? What brings us out of the feeling of having a good life and good sleep? What makes us nervous? What makes us angry? Just think about your life. I would say that in most of us, there is Haman living inside. We are rejoicing to see Haman on the tree, but there is Haman inside of us who got to be killed. Haman who is who can nervous only if one person gives us a wrong look. Only if one person tells us not a nice word. Our Haman is outraged just because somebody did something wrong to us. We need to kill Haman in our heart and in our soul. We got to put him on the tree for him to die. And now, this perspective that I'm trying to show you regarding Haman is also to help us not just to fight Haman in our soul, but also to look at other people differently. When we see an evil one, we're angry. When we see a sinful one, we're pointing with our fingers and say, oh, bad guy. He is bad. He is evil. He is a sinner. It's our natural tendency. Probably we feel better because somebody is worse than we are. But we are too quick to judge sometimes. Instead of having compassion. Look, as Yeshua came, he had compassion to sinners. He had compassion to evil people. He had compassion to those who were beating him and to those who were killing him. He prayed for them because he knew that they don't know what they are doing. He knew that they are evil and angry, not because their life is good, but because their life is bad. You know when you are angry? Are you angry because you are happy? Are you getting angry because you are self-confident? Because you are self-secure? Because you are relying on God and you have everything in your life? Not in my case. I'm getting angry when I'm suffering. Not necessarily pain in my body, but emotional pain that comes often from the outside. Most of the evil people, they have problems in their life and in their soul that make them so evil. Almost nobody, there are certainly special cases as usual and exceptions, but nobody is angry. Nobody is willing to kill others just because he is happy and enjoying that. We are getting angry and we commit wrong to others because we are miserable, because we are pitiful, because we are suffering. If somebody does something bad to us or bad to you, just look at this person before with compassion, before you will be quick to judge him or her. Just look at this person and ask yourself the question, why is this person so angry? What does bother this person? Why this person why is this person so evil? Is he or she happy? And that's the reason. Are they so sadistic or sick, psycho-sick, to enjoy being so evil? No, they have their problems, like Haman. And now I'm going to read a couple of passages from what Yeshua said from the Gospels. Let's start with Matthew chapter 15. And these passages are very familiar for you. I'm pretty sure. Matthew 15, verses 18 and 19. But the things that proceed out of the mouth come from the heart, and those defile the man. For out of the heart come evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, slanders. And verse 20, these are the things which defile the man, but to eat with unwashed hands does not defile the man. So look at the issue. It comes from the heart. And we often talk about evil heart. So heart is evil, heart is sinful. I want you to look at this from a different perspective. Heart is pitiful. Heart is suffering. There is a pain in the heart of an evil one. There is a pain. And maybe something what the person brings from his childhood, from his house, from his parents, from his education, his inferiority complexes, his just some struggles from the past. He brings and strives for something good. You know, I was trying to be. I realized in certain point of my life that I was trying to be so good and so outward, so just outward, so nice to others, and I'm like workaholic because I was raised this way. And I was trying to please my parents. And I was actually certain, I was a victim of this raising up. My parents loved me and loved me. I had a very good childhood. But some of my emotional struggles that were having even consequences in different areas of my life, I brought with me as an unceasing struggle in my soul. And it's very important to recognize what does make us wrong and what does make us evil or angry at times. It comes from our heart, but not necessarily because our heart is evil by itself. As I would say, as it's very common to teach. So your heart is evil, that's why you're doing that. A nice excuse. There is but a wrong excuse. Our heart is suffering. There is so much suffering, emotional, soul suffering in this world. The next gospel, Gospel of Mark, chapter 6. Chapter 7. verses from 21 through 23. For from within, out of the heart of man, proceed the evil thoughts, fornications, thefts, murders, adulteries, deeds of coveting and wickedness, as well as deceit, sensuality, envy, slander, pride, and foolishness. All these evil things proceed from within and defile the man. So again, it comes from within, but not just automatically because a person is bad. Ask the question first. Why his soul is in this way? Why his heart is producing that? Because he is happy? Because he enjoys his life? No. If somebody is envying another person, it's not because he feels like complete satisfaction in his life, or because he is so happy and enjoying his life. No, it's something what bothers him, what makes him sleep bad at night. And he wakes up in the morning with completely different feeling toward others, namely anger. If somebody did something bad to you, sometimes it happens that we talk to this person, but not in person, not in the United States, not so much. We talk to this person in our mind and in our soul. So we argue with him or with herself. And sometimes we feel like, I would punch you. I would get a gun and shot you. And we arguing constantly, we try to imagine this person. No, we even don't try. We just imagine this person. And we talk to him or herself. Not directly, not in person, but in our minds. Does it make our sleep better? Or do we enjoy our meal better because of that? Does it make us seriously smiling because this conversation? No. There is a struggle in our soul and in the soul of others. Let's look at the Gospel of Luke, chapter 6. Well, I lost this passage. Wow. Sad. I'm looking for that a good man... it's verse 45. The good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth what is good. And the evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth what is evil. For his mouth speaks from that which fills his heart. Our heart is shown in what we are doing. What we are doing is showing our heart. This passage is possible. These passages is possible to read two ways. One way is evil heart, evil in the man. His heart is evil, so that's why he is evil. In many cases, it's true. But try to look from another perspective. It's also helpful. Why is he so evil? He is a poor man. Inside of him, there is a suffering. And this suffering is producing troubles, around him. There is no war in this world that was started because one nation was just absolutely happy with herself. There is always struggle that starts the war. There is no animosity in this world, and there are no enemies of us unless there is a feeling of war in our soul and in our heart. That's why it's so important to forgive, because the forgiveness makes this world better. Amen. You know, all of us are suffering like this. What does it produce? Our suffering can produce anger. Our suffering can produce envy, jealousy. Our suffering may produce something that will harm others. But first of all, if we will push our suffering this way, the way of evil, it will destroy us, as it destroyed Haman in the book of Esther. We need to turn it around. We need to have compassion to others, and we need to be forgiving. Don't judge the sinner and the evil one too quickly. Try to understand what is the reason. Do you remember what the Bible says both in the book of Romans and in the book of Proverbs? If your enemy is hungry, give him something to eat. If your enemy is thirsty, give him something to drink. If your enemy has nothing to wear or no place to live, give him something what he needs. Because by doing that, you will put the fire, gather the fire in his head, and you will change him as the iron. You will change the sword to a peaceful tool. You will be able to change this person, and by changing one person, you will change the entire world. Don't talk to your enemy in your head. Don't make plans to harm your enemy. Just try to understand this person. Try to get compassion the same as Yeshua did. It will help you to forgive this person. It will help you to help this person. And it will change you, it will change your person, and it will change this world, and you will sleep better. And if you have suffering in your heart, even today, go to Yeshua, because he understands you. He knows your heart. Maybe you concentrated your attention too much on the outward things, so what you're doing. And you are just trying to think, oh, I'm such a, and you're thinking, I'm such a sinner, I'm such an evil person, I did it again. Why I cannot forgive? Why can I not avoid this? Don't judge even yourself. Bring it to Yeshua. He loves you and he has compassion. Forgive others and forgive yourself as Yeshua is forgiving you. Make peace with yourself in your heart. Stop talking to your enemies in your head. You will sleep better and the world will be better. Just forgive others, forgive yourself, bring it all to Yeshua and change your life for this world to be changed for better. Because that's the recipe for the peace in this world. And Yeshua came to us to take our suffering, to take our guilt, to take the problems away that we have, for us to become happy. And the happy person doesn't harm others, but to encourage others. If you have enemies, you should have compassion. If you are an enemy for yourself, have compassion. And come to Yeshua, who loves you. Kill Haman in your heart. kill this evil man who suffers. Because in Yeshua, we are supposed to be free of it. We need compassion to others. Not judgment, compassion. Judgment is His. Forgiveness is also His, but also ours. May God bless us to live in peace that Yeshua gives in our heart. Amen. And have compassion to others and to ourselves for this world to be filled with the love of Yeshua that comes through us. Amen.
For more information, visit us at www.etzheim.org. That's spelled EITZ-CHAIM.org. Or join us in Richardson, Texas for our weekly Shabbat services.